Hey, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about some things to consider before you go out and decide to buy coins versus bars. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the difference between coins and bars with regard to price. Relatively speaking, bars come with a lower premium cost compared to coins. Now, the reason is twofold. The first reason is because manufacturing costs tend to be lower on bars. They're cheaper for mints out there to produce them. And so they're going to have a cheaper premium for that reason. But secondly, demand tends to be higher for coins versus bars. People just really like the form factor, which is something we'll talk more about in a minute, of coins versus bars. So if you're a metals investor that cares a lot about getting the most metal for your dollar, getting the cheapest price, depending on whether you are going with gold or silver. Of course, I'm generalizing here, but in many cases, you will find that you will get a cheaper price looking at the bars and the bar options of a dealer versus the coins. Another thing I want you guys to consider is that coins tend to be highly liquid compared to bars. In other words, because that demand is going to be higher for coins, there's going to be a market for it just about all the time. And that's whether you're selling back to dealers or maybe the smaller pawn shops, the smaller mom and pop coin shops or whatever it may be. There's always a market for coins because people just like them. Demand is really, really high. That's not to say there's not a market for bars, but coins tend to have really high liquidity. That is certainly something to consider in the decision-making process when you're choosing between which is right for you. If you're going to go with coins, you're going to be investing in something that is generally more liquid. Now, there's another thing to think about, and that is if you're out there and you have always thought about gold and silver as a potential alternative currency. In other words, if your dollar isn't going to be worth what you think it should be worth or what it is worth now, if you need something to protect yourself from that, they will look to gold and silver. So something I want you guys to consider is the fact that if you are thinking along those lines and you want something that is perhaps more tradable, something that is more easily used as an alternative currency, then you're going to be thinking about coins over bars simply because of the form factor. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean literally the shape of the thing. So bars typically have this more, long kind of rectangular oblong shape versus a coin, which of course is the shape that humanity has used for most of human history as the form factor for money, for currency. It's just simply easier to transport coins over against bars. And so if you're concerned about your metals being a potential alternative currency, and you put yourself out there in a position where you may be using it for trade purposes someday, then you might consider giving more weight to coins over against bars because they're going to be more portable. That form factor is more conducive to trade. And it's just kind of falling in line with, again, that higher demand. It's what people are going to be seeking. It's what people are going to recognize more quickly, perhaps. Now, on this last point, I want to end with something that's a little bit more technical. And for some of you, it may not even be applicable, but I want to include it anyway for those of you that it will help. Obviously, when it comes to metals investing and purchasing something, whether it be for retirement purposes, whether it be for financial insurance, maybe you think you might even be trading with it someday, people love privacy. Now, the good thing about the metals industry is, for the most part, it is really unregulated. Of course, there are some regulations at play, and I'm actually going to share one of them in just a second. But for the most part, it's unregulated, and therefore, it's a very private transaction between you and the dealer that you choose. But there are some exceptions. I want to give you guys a few IRS considerations before you go out there and choose your coins or your bars. Like gold bars, there are some coin options like the Canadian gold maple leaf, the South African gold Krugerrand, the Mexican Onza, and a couple of others that are subject to 1099-B reporting requirements when you are selling them, and here's the specific part, in increments of 25 ounces or more per transaction. So if you have something like a Krugerrand, a maple leaf, or a Mexican Onza, if you sell that back to a dealer in an increment greater than 25 ounces, for that transaction, you're going to have to fill out a 1099-B report so that the IRS can track that. Now, all other coins are exempt from that 1099-B reporting. So if you want to avoid that altogether, let's say you hypothetically you think you might be selling 30 ounces of whatever gold product you invest in today out in the future, and you want to avoid wholesale ever needing to fill out something like a 1099-B form, then just choose something that is not a Mexican Onza or a South African Krugerrand or a gold maple leaf or any other gold bar. There's a lot of other options out there, so that is easily avoidable, but I wanted to make that clear for you guys as you make these considerations. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Hopefully these will be some helpful tips to keep in mind as you make that decision for what's best for you and your family, whether you're choosing coins or bars. Bars are generally going to be cheaper, but because of coins' higher demand, they are more liquid, generally speaking, and those may need to be some things that you consider before making your first purchase. That's it for today, everybody. If you want to learn more, check out the links in the description below, and we'll see you next time.